What do you do when the person who shaped your world is suddenly gone? In this vulnerable and soul-stirring episode, Brazilian pop artist Carol Grando opens up about the devastating loss of her mother at 16 years old and how that grief became the catalyst for her music journey. She shares how music became more than just an art form, and it became her lifeline. Carol talks about what it means to carry deep faith in a world full of noise, rejection, and pressure to quit. Through heartbreak, doubt, and moments of silence where it felt like no one was listening, she kept showing up, not just for her dreams, but for the younger version of herself who needed to believe it was possible. This is an episode about resilience, identity, and the healing power of expression. Whether you face unimaginable loss, chased a creative dream, or ever found yourself on the edge of giving up, Carol's story will meet you there. Carol Grando, welcome to Shift Happens. I'm so happy you're here.
Thank you so much for inviting me. It's a pleasure.
Yes, I am so excited. My friend Thais was like, you need to interview Carol. She has such an amazing story. She's so talented.
Thank you.
So I cannot wait for our listeners to get to know you better on a personal level and to also hear about your work. And with that, you were born and raised in Brazil, right?
Yes.
Can you bring us into, I've never been. It's on my bucket list. I need to go. I would love to go to Brazil. That sounds amazing. Can you bring us into what a day in your life as a little girl looked like growing up in Brazil?
Well, to specify, Brazil is so big.
Okay. I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, no, Brazil is so big and there's so many cultures in Brazil, but maybe if there is a Brazilian listen to me, I am from the south of Brazil. The state is called Paraná. And actually, I was born in a city that is 5,000 people. So really, really, really small. And it was fulfilled of nature, you know, not that much of, I would say, of entertainment industry, and it was way more family part. So as a kid, I would say it was a lot of moments like playing on the street with kids because it wasn't dangerous at all. So I would say a day would be like with my mom in the morning and having that breakfast and family and just mostly stayed the whole day outside with friends playing. And it was I would say it was a lot of memories that you cannot go back because it's so something that is not what I live now because LA is so big. Yeah. But it was so good to have that moment in my life living on the country side of Brazil.
Yeah, I can imagine. And what did it look like even for school? Did you kind of know everyone? What did that look like? I mean,
actually, it's funny because in my city, the name of the city is Mercedes, like the name of the brand. And it's funny because my school was on my street. So I could see from the window of my house, I could see the school. Wow. But I could be always late.
You're like, it's right there, so there's no rush. That always happens like that, right? Where it's like, it's so close to me, there's no rush, there's no like urgency.
Exactly.
And then you still end up being late.
Yeah, but it was like, as you said, we knew each other and we didn't, there's still no college on that city because it's so small. Wow. So it's just on other cities that are close, but it's just one college to the high school. And yeah, I remember every part of that. It was really cool. Everybody knew each other.
What was your home dynamic like? Because you mentioned your mom. Yeah. What about your dad? Did you have siblings?
I have 3 siblings, but from my mom and dad, I have 2 siblings. Okay. And my parents got divorced when I was really, really young. So before that, it was, of course, there were hard times because, you don't get divorced out of nowhere, you know, and they were married for 25 years.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was a lot. And there were really good times in family. But I would say the moment that I started to recognize myself, you know, when you start to grow like 8, 9 years and you understand more things, I would say it was way more of times me and my mom, because I am the youngest one. So my siblings were already going to college, out of the house. So it would be me, my mom, my dad would be working on another city, and then after they divorced, he was not even on our city anymore. And I try to think only on the positive things, because they're not I'll not go back to the past, so I would not be remember all of the fights and those things, like getting on the divorce part, because I was the kid that was at home when all of that happened. But I don't like to remember that. I like to remember the good parts, even because of my mom. So I would say after they got divorced, it was a lot of me and my mom. And because it was a country city, there was nothing to do but like be with the people we love. So it'd be a lot of me and my mom doing things and kind of growing together. I can now, after all of the pain, I can see how me and her, we grew together and we evaluate together on the even in the middle of the pain.
Yeah, absolutely. Was music a part of your upbringing?
Oh yeah, I was even thinking about that, getting a little bit emotional, because on the 31st is the day that she passed away. So it's in some days, and I was thinking about that because she was the one that saw me. I was 4 years old and I was like singing and dancing, and she arrived home. I don't know how, because people say we don't remember things on that age, but I do remember that day. And I remember she got home and she said, I put you on dance and voice classes. And I was like, oh my God. Yay. I was so happy, and she was there for me. And they had an old piano in my house, because my aunt, my mom's sister, had one and she didn't want anymore. So they put it in our house. I remember my sister used to play, and after she moved to do her college, I wanted to play. And I remember I was 10 years old when I started doing classes. And I can definitely put to you how songs, all of those songs and music made me be strong, because even on hard moments I would play the piano, and my mom would even crying. I remember there's days that she was crying. She would let her bedroom door open, and I would play for her. And I remember days that she would just walk to me, and I would be suffering because it was so hard to play at that time. And I would be like frustrated with a song, and she would say, just keep continuing. I love to listen to it. So I learned a lot of songs because she wanted, like, oh, I really like this one. And I started to learn, and it was really part of my day, definitely.
You know, we're talking about your mom, and we're talking about such immense impact that she had on your life, how close you guys were. And you shared that your mom ended up passing away when you were 16.
Yeah.
What did that look like? Was that a sudden passing?
No.
Did you know? Okay.
No, we knew. To explain more a bit, on 2014, I was 9 years old, and she got breast cancer. And I think it was 1 year to get healed and all of the radio and chemo. But after some years, I think it was on 2018, that she discovered that the cancer turned to metastasis. So it went to another organ. And on the beginning, she was trying. I remember she would cry to me. At some point of my life, I was really being a therapist to my mom. I was the only one there, not because other people didn't want to, but because I was a kid. I had to be at home, and it was my life at the moment, and I embraced that. And I remember she when she found out, I was happy. I was like fine on the moment, because I remember about the breast cancer, and I was like, everything got cured and everything is fine.
You're gonna pull through this as well.
Yeah, I was like, I will be here with her. But then it wasn't being effective, all of the chemo and radio. And I still have that day marked on my I have a lot of planners, and even to tell to myself, like letters to myself. And I even wrote down the day that she arrived from another city she was doing an appointment with the doctor in another city, and then she arrived. And I remember the moment that she closed the door of my room, and she was so different, and I couldn't understand. It was a normal day to me. And it was on 2020 in the middle of the
COVID.
pandemic. Yeah. And she looked at me and she said, I'm sorry, but I have to tell you that you already know it's not working, all of the things, and we cannot do the surgery. And I was talking to my doctor, and she said, it's not fair to don't tell to my kids what is going to happen. And I was so confused. I was like, what do you mean? And then she said, well, I will not be here for a long time. And I was on 2020, I was 14. I was 14.
Wow.
And 14, 15. And then I was like, what do you mean? Like, how many years? And then she said, I don't know about years. I said, like, will you not be here for my wedding? And then she was like, I don't think I'll be here for your high school graduation. And I started to cry so much. And on that day, I wrote that letter to myself of like, this is the day that I went to the darkness. Like, just think about it. Because my parents were divorced. My siblings were doing their thing. But I was 15. I was like...
And you and your mom are close.
Yeah, because of all of... I think we got really, really close because we were together in the pain. Like we knew
through the divorce, and your siblings are moved out.
Yeah,
and it's just really you two.
Yeah, and then it was just like that. And after she decided to move to another city for this last moments of her life, and I decided to move together. We can go even more deeply on that, but it was not, we already knew, but I didn't know it was really depressing to be like for my whole family, because it was every day not knowing the next day.
Yeah.
And it was like, I don't know.
It's like a limbo. Like you're in between. You're in this in between.
You cannot leave.
State.
Nobody, like, I think thankfully most of the people don't know what it is to live with a person with cancer, with a terminal cancer, because it's like you cannot live your life because you just think.
You're like, when is what's gonna happen?
Yeah, and what
when
can
are they
I
passing?
do?
What can I do to be there for her?
And I was at that time like 15, 16, so it was really hard.
And so are these the times when you're talking about where you would sing and she would hear the music and
even before, because I started to play the piano with 10, so I would say like with 11 I was already way better to play full songs.
Yeah.
And she would just come to me sometimes and not even ask me to play a song, but she would say, I really like this song, what do you think about that song? And I'd be, okay, Mom, I would do it. And there's even a really strong song that it's called Ballade for Adeline. Is I think it's even French, but it's instrumental. It's just piano.
I love that.
And it was like 10 pages. And I was like, she asked me to do, I would do it. And it was so hard. And there is a sad part of all of that, because I finished learning the full 10 pages just after she passed away. So she never heard the full song. But I remember in Brazil, normally there's gatherings, like church gatherings, after 7 weeks that the person passed away, 1 month, to just to the family be together and remember that day. And I remember on the after 1 month she passed away, me and my family, we went together to the church, and I explained, I said, well, she never listened the whole thing, but I'm playing it today as just remember her with good things, and it's a really strong moment for me, definitely.
Yeah. What were your emotions like when you played the full 10 pages?
I remember I was shaking, like I used to shake. At the same time that I was feeling peace.
Yeah.
The song is so calm and it's so pretty, so many moments on it. But I will definitely have this pain inside of my heart.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. So now you're 16, your mom passes, and what happens next? Do you go live with family? Are you living with your dad? What's next for you?
I remember at that moment in my life, because I embraced my mom's emotions and life, I remember I was in a good relationship with my dad.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to be close to him, and he was not there. So I think when I think about it now, it's like I was just being a kid. Like I was angry with him, and I remember exactly on the hospital. My dad was there on the last weeks that we didn't know was the last weeks on the hospital, and I remember the right moment that she passed away, and I remember my dad coming close to me and saying, "Wow, you will be with me now." And in my head, I never told him that, but in my head I was like,
Nope.
I prefer to die. I was
I don't want to be with you at all.
and my siblings were already more than 18 years, so they were living alone, and so for them it was all good. Like, not at all good, but they will be able to suffer that on their moment. And what would they have, because none of us were in a good relationship with my dad. But I didn't have a choice. I had to be with him and move to the city that he lives, and I really, really didn't want to. It was a hard beginning of life after losing myself. I feel that every time that I remember about the whole pain, is like, I would say you have to start life again. It's like you're a baby again, definitely.
You mentioned how you felt like that day when your mom came and told you that she didn't really know how much time she had left, that you felt like darkness, like you gave yourself to darkness. What is your relationship, or what was your relationship with God? Do you believe in God at this point? Like, what was your relationship? You mentioned church. So I kind of want to see where you were then to where you are now.
I would say it's a really beautiful journey how God healed me, definitely. And I have to say that he was always there, but I was able to feel his love after I opened my heart for him. And it was after the most painful part of my life, which is losing my mom. I had to suffer the trauma to understand that he was there always. I just was so traumatized with church. So at that moment, before she passed away, I was really traumatized with church. She would go and I learned a lot about praying and faith with her, definitely. But most of the time I was doing that to be a good kid, a good girl for her.
Listening to her.
Yeah. But I nowadays that Jesus is like my best friend. Nowadays I understand that he was with me when I couldn't notice, and definitely on that moment that she told me, so much anger forgot. I was like, I don't get it. I was so angry because my mom was the best person that I ever knew. Like all of the things that she did for community, for church, and I couldn't understand. I was like, what is happening? Like, for me, okay, I didn't at that time. I wasn't the best person with myself, so I was thinking like, even with me, okay, God, but with my mom. So at that time, it was complete the opposite. The relationship that I have with God nowadays.
Yeah. As you've been listening to this conversation, you may be feeling like you want to share your own story, but maybe the thought of that overwhelms you, or downright scares you. I'm here to encourage you. Your story matters, and I'd love to help you process and learn to share it to help others. Click the link in the show notes for coaching to get started. And I feel like God works like that a lot. Like he, like you said, he never leaves us. He never forsakes us. But in the pit of despair, it's so hard to recognize his hand or his voice because we want answers.
Yeah.
And we don't understand and we're confused. And it seems like now you are, you know, in a, like you said, Jesus is your best friend and you're able to use your pain for purpose and for passion, especially with music.
Yeah.
I could really relate to your story because my mom passed away from breast cancer.
Oh my
and
God.
So I can struggle with not having a mom.
Yeah.
And I really gravitate toward older women in my life or seek it out because I long for that mother figure.
Yeah.
And so I wonder, how did your mom's passing help shape you as a woman and ultimately even as a music artist?
First of all, I'm so sorry, but we know exactly how it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say everything in my life. I completely changed after she passed away. But it's so curious how she was building myself even on her hardest moments. Like she was not being able like to shower and I would have to help her, and even on those moments she would tell me things and ask me to do things that I never thought about doing it, but it was making me stronger to live alone. It's so crazy. I never thought about living alone so young with 18, but at that time she was already preparing me to be strong and to do things alone.
Yeah.
But it definitely has been shaping me because the grief is forever.
Yeah.
It's forever. So it's really, it makes me feel so much peace to know the human my mom was, you know, and everything that she did to me. Even on her hardest moments, she was building me as a human being. And it was awesome.
You also mentioned offline that when you were 18, you moved to 3 different cities, right? Or was it before 18?
So I was living in Mercedes, and then I moved to Curitiba, and then I moved to Guaíra, and now I'm in LA.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when you were moving, what were you trying to find? Were you trying to find healing? Were you trying to escape from the pain? Or what were you searching for?
I was trying to survive, to be honest. I was trying to deal with so much pain and trying to find in places. Because the first time that I moved was with my mom, and that action was to find peace and make new memories with the people that we love. Like my mom said, I want to be just with you on another city, not on an environment that I had so much pain and memories from the divorce.
Yeah.
And I said, on the beginning, I was kind of scared. I was 15 and I had all of my friends. And when you're 15, you just think about friends and relationships.
100%.
Yeah. And I was like, I don't know. But I'm so grateful for my therapist. I started doing therapy with like 12 and I still do, and it's with the same woman.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Yeah, she knows everything. And I remember I was kind of afraid, and she said, you will never, what is the word in English? You will never feel guilty for going. You will feel guilty if you don't go.
Yep.
And I started to think about that, and I was like, actually, she's right. I will give up everything. I was already doing music at the time, like covers and presenting myself on media, and I was so excited. And then suddenly all of that happened, and I was like, do I stay? Do I move? And I was like, you know what? I don't know how long it's gonna be, but I have to have these moments, less moments with her. And I stopped thinking about all of the other things, even about myself. It was just having moments with her. And definitely that shaped me so much on life, because I think the most painful things on ourselves is when we don't have to change to do it different because the person already passed away.
Yeah.
And I was able to do everything that I could with her, like the last hug, all of the last words. So it was definitely the best choice that I made.
So after like around 18, you decide to move to the United States.
Yeah.
And that takes a lot of courage. You're 18. You didn't move with any family or friends, right?
It was
You're
crazy.
just like,
I came alone.
I'm going to America and I'm gonna make it in the music industry. Like, what was your mindset like? Because that takes a lot of courage.
So because I moved to live with my dad with 16, it was like 2 years living with my dad. And that's another whole journey that thankfully happened in the best way possible. Like, but I would just continue do music like on my house and as a hobby because I was doing high school, and I would just try to see myself in all of the things that people were telling me to do and putting their opinions and their frustrations on me. And I would just try. I swear to you, I was trying, because I was trying to make people happy and not live my life but do what they want. You know, when you're 18, I think a lot of people are on your shoulders trying to say what you should do. And I was so afraid, but I couldn't see. I remember having moments crying so much to my dad, saying, I'm sorry, I'm really sorry, but my life is music, and I know it's hard living on a small town and the country of Brazil. Like, what are you talking about? Like, music? Come on. And it was all about that to the people around me. And that made me even kind of don't believe in myself either. But I said, you know what? I prefer to leave the most uncomfortable zone in my life than leave where it's comfortable, but I cannot see peace inside of me and not happiness. And yeah, I love my dad, but in the beginning he didn't believe in me. He was like,
it was hard for him to see the long game and the vision. And he grew up, I don't know where he grew up, but he lived in Brazil, and it was a small town. It's not LA, and it's not, hustle and bustle, and it's a totally different worldview.
Exactly. And the moment that I got my acceptance letter for a college, music college here in LA, it was so crazy because he felt that he changed to another person. He was
like, okay, wow, maybe you can do it. Maybe.
Like, actually I did all alone. And he started to see a future, and he started to be happy with me. I guess it's because the more you grow in life, you understand people. You understand the human being feelings and what the person is and their actions. And I could understand why my dad was so happy, because he had to do his own things alone. He had a really strong past on pain, to find himself. And I think the moment that he saw me doing all of that alone, he was like, you know what? Even if I was being negative, she's doing it. So I think he was really happy that I was doing everything, even in the hard places. And I came here alone.
Wow. You've mentioned that songwriting is how you process your emotions, and you were kind of alluding to that too with, during your mom's passing and prior to that. What's one song that holds a piece of your grief, and what is it about?
You meant like mine? Mine. I would say there's one that I never released. Maybe in the future, every time that I listen to that, it's really strong to me. I have something really strong with dreams, like sleeping.
Yes.
And even related to God.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a lot of dreams with my mom. I still have, and I love all of them because all of them is happiness and me and her together. But on the beginning, it wasn't really like that. It was hard dreams. But this one that I'm talking about, I wrote about a dream that I was with her and I saw her, and the name of the song is In My Dreams, and it talks about how she came to me as an angel, and it was really kind of painful but relief to write that one.
Yeah.
But I never released that one
Because it's so deep and like raw.
Yeah. It is it's really acoustic and songwriting, so yeah.
When you are in your writing process, do you write from a place of healing, or do you write from a place where you're still in the process of healing, you're still bleeding out, or is it kind of a mix of both?
I would say it's a mix, and it's definitely different when you're writing exactly the moment that you have and all of that emotions and all that is happening. But at the same time, it's really something that I already did with other songs, is writing down the moment of the pain, like a heartbreak, and then after some months get back to the songwriting and read all of that and say, oh my god, yeah, that was hard, it was another life.
Yeah.
But be able to shape that and make that something that is mixed of what I had and who I am now after all of the pain. Yeah.
So when you perform one of these songs that has such deep emotion to it, when you're singing, are you able to compartmentalize like basically just the words and perform? Or when you're performing and singing, are you still deeply feeling the words?
I think it depends on the performance.
Okay.
It depends on how, what is the event, how I want to present. If it's more intimacy, like an intimate event, I probably feel more the words, and even when it's really small, I think I would like, it had times that I would cry. But I think when is a bigger performance, I think I will get on my, like I will shift in my mind to the like performancer, like I have to do this and I have to be better and do this and that, so my mind will be in another part.
Then there's more adrenaline. And there's more like, okay, the lights and the cameras, and
but definitely when it plays a specific song, it gets me to another part. That's what I love about music. It gets you to a whole different moment in seconds. Definitely.
Music is so healing and powerful.
It is.
I can't even imagine, doing your job and being able to pour out all these emotions and translate it into such beautiful, beautiful songs, because our pain and happiness and all the emotions really do make us feel something. And they remind us of people, and they remind us of memories, and they bring us back to a certain place in our childhood. Exactly. And I think that's so beautiful. Your music, it blends both your Brazilian background with also current pop. How do you balance the blend of both of those, staying kind of rooted with your culture, but also translating it into something like more fresh?
I think I definitely always do that on all of my release and songs, because I don't want to pretend to be not who I am not. I am a Brazilian. I came from the country, but I have also to have the mindset to understand the music industry, and to understand that to go to some places you have to be smart and play with the tools, so definitely things that I will do is definitely putting, even if it's on the background, Brazilian instruments that like sometimes people don't even know, but we have so different instruments that I love. And definitely play with Portuguese words in the middle of it.
I love that.
And I always put slangs and I always want people to listen to it. And it's funny, normally when American listen to my songs, they will really love the pop and how commercial it is, but they would at some point like get it, what is the sound, what is this word, and I'll be, yeah, that's me, that's my culture. So
but that's also what makes you unique and what makes you stand out from everyone else. And I think that is something to really, treasure.
Yeah.
Because there's so many different artists that sometimes they sound the same, they look the same, and what you are doing is different and unique. And so I applaud you for staying true to who you are and not, I think it's easy to be transformed into someone you're not, especially in LA.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So with that, how have you had to reinvent yourself, either like emotionally, creatively, even spiritually, coming to LA? Or is it just maybe you felt some pressures to conform?
Pressure. I felt pressure of the city. I think people that don't live here do not and will never understand what is living in LA. I even compare like living here with big cities like in Brazil, like São Paulo. And sorry guys, it's not the same. It's not the same.
How would you describe it? Like, what has your experience been like?
No, it's because LA is so full of everything. It's so full of course, really good things, but we have to know that there is bad parts, bad people.
100%.
And that was the pressure that shifted me. The pressure of like, will you be true to yourself and be the woman that you are and be strong and do what you feel in your heart, or will you be pressure about what the culture and some people here in LA tries to translate and be? No, I will be myself. Like as a Brazilian, a lot of people say that we are like really, really lovely, but there is bad parts of being too lovely and how it can break your heart. But I said, I'm not gonna be shifted by those things. I'm gonna shift myself to a better version of myself, of knowing to be lovely and doing my purpose and my journey without doing bad things for people, because that's another thing about music industry.
I was gonna say, it really, really is. Yeah. Was there ever a moment where you thought about giving up, and what pulled you through?
A lot of moments in all of my life. Like honestly, I thought about giving up when my mom passed away. It's a really hard. It really is a really hard subject, but I had moments of not more than suicidal thoughts. It was actually actions. And a lot of people don't know about that, but it's not because you live on a beautiful family, like on a small city. Everybody talks about you, and sometimes it's not about what is outside. And it could seem like a really pretty family, but I was on my deepest darkness moments, and so that was definitely a part of my life. But after moving here and leaving the most uncomfortable to live my dream and my purpose, it was, I definitely had a lot of moments, because I don't know how to explain how it is to live a whole life with people with you, and then suddenly you're 18 and you're in an apartment with nothing, and you're alone, and you're in another country.
Absolutely, you feel alone and isolated.
Yeah, and LA definitely can turn into that if you don't have the mindset. And I think that's why a lot of people move out of LA, because it's definitely a hard city, but it can bring so much shine and joy for life if you know your purpose and if you're strong
Yeah,
to
you
that.
know your why.
Yeah,
And I think finding community,
definitely.
right?
Definitely.
And finding support, even if it's just one or two friends, or if it's a mentor
Yeah.
or someone, and even you still having a relationship with your therapist back home,
Yeah.
even though it's not here, still having these lifelines of people that you can bring into what you're going through, because it's so important to not do life alone.
Yeah.
And that is our temptation. And as a Christian, I fully believe in the power of the enemy and how you can start believing thoughts
Oh yeah.
about yourself, about others, what they think of you, and then next thing you know, you are in despair.
Yeah.
You know,
I
and
can
so,
totally be with you on that, because it can really go into our minds, and it's so hard, and that's when the disbelief starts. You know, that's when you're saying, you know,
I'm
what?
not good enough.
Exactly.
Like no one really cares.
Oh my God, it's so much pain, and then it's so confusing in your mind.
Yeah.
And it's really a shift when you understand that is not you.
Yeah.
And you have to be back to yourself.
Yeah.
And know what happened. Like something that really helps me is, as I said, like writing. So I would be really sad, or even the grief, I will look back. I don't, that's not, don't do that, but I would look at photos and listen to audio messages, and even with myself, I would like put me in really bad moments, because I would start to not believe in myself. But something that really makes me go back to my strength is looking to those journals, and then look what I wrote.
Yeah.
And till nowadays, I have things that I marked as a goal, like, no, this is a goal for my career, and then I'm already living that, and we stop remembering that we are, and then we start to think, oh, I really want that. And life is not about that, because if you just keep your life putting more and more points of, oh, I want to get there, but you don't celebrate where you're already there, like points that you didn't think about it. Like just think about 1 year ago where you wanted to be and the things you wanted to do, and you're probably doing that now, but you didn't celebrate.
Absolutely.
So
because we're always striving, goal after goal after goal.
Exactly.
We're never going to arrive.
There's
no true arrival.
You have to have the happiness on where you were, in what all of the things that you did to be where you are. And then when I started to disbelieve myself, I definitely go to those parts and think, oh my God, I am already living what was a dream. And definitely I can say to you, it was a dream that even in my eyes were like impossible.
Yeah.
I would losing my mom, I was like, I will be nobody. Like I was living with music and playing and crying, but I couldn't see being strong enough. But I made it. I said, you know what, I'm gonna do, and it's really it's a really grateful moment to remember all of that. Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. What does home look like to you now after navigating the grief of your mom and moving from your dad and your family to now making a home in LA? What does that word mean to you now?
I think it's so much strong, because I nowadays, I would say, I don't know how this will sound, but I would say myself, like I definitely have to be in peace with myself to go to places and be home, you know?
Yeah.
So nowadays in LA, I can feel home even in the middle of the street if I am with the right people, if
Absolutely.
I am with the one that I beloved. And honestly, the peace that you feel when you're with God, it doesn't matter the place. So I love the word home, because it can go so deep on our journeys as human beings. But I would say I can feel home on the most normal places for people, like go back to the country and go to a exactly place on the city, and for people it's like, okay, it's just another part of city. For me, something that reminds me of my mom and all of the things that I came from, but I also can feel home on a friend house here in LA, and my house, and just feel the peace. Definitely.
I love that. I love that. What do you hope someone feels when they hear your voice and your music for the first time?
I would say joy, because life can be so hard, and I feel that a lot of people live their lives trying to understand and don't feel the joy. And with music you definitely can go to really different perspectives and worlds, but with my music I want to people to feel the joy, to believe in themselves, and honestly to have moments of peace. I feel that in LA, even in LA, is like I have to be productive, I have to do this and that, but and honestly I think even like on the 20 to 30 years old normally is way more stronger, all of that feeling. And but definitely happiness, just enjoy life, listen to my music.
And I'm sure that comes across. I'm sure that does.
Thank you.
If your music could be remembered for one message or movement, what would you want that to be?
Oh my God. I think I would say I don't want to sound cliche, but knowing my story and that's something that I think people get to know more, even out of the curiosity of what artist am I.
Yeah.
And I think after you look just a little bit, I really want to be a message of joy and truth in your life, on the way of knowing that life is it's just way much more bright and powerful when you definitely go for what you belong to.
Yeah.
Don't feel the pressure, and definitely just go through it. Like, a lot of people ask me how you did that, or like how are you living there so happy. Like, my sister-in-law, she always says, I feel sad not having you here in Brazil, but when I see your smile every time that I call you, I know that you're where you're meant to be and you're happy, and that makes me feel the peace of knowing that you're happy. So I really want people to feel the joy even in the hard moments. Yeah. And don't be wherever it is just because it's comfortable. Like, you definitely have to be where it makes you happy, because I have to tell you, after so much painful moments in my life, happiness and the peace is not uncomfortable. It's not uncomfortable zones. It definitely goes to uncomfortable places, but because it makes you grow. So.
Absolutely. The whole premise of this podcast is, it's a play on words. Shift happens, right? And what I hear you saying through all of this is it is a mindset shift to help us grow when we're uncomfortable, and to choose the hard thing, and to choose to keep going even when life hits us and knocks us down over and over. And you're saying you want your message to be one about peace and joy, and even just sitting here and talking to you today, you exude a peace, you exude a soft strength. It's bold, but there is a soft, gentle spirit in you. And I'm sure that your mom would be very, very proud of everything that you have accomplished in your life. And there's so much more that you are going to do. This is just your beginning. And I'm so excited to share your story with my followers, and I'm honored to be able to hear it today. And I can't wait to follow along and see all the big things that you do. So thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much. You almost made me cry saying all of that. It's really an honor, and it's a pleasure to be here and to talk to you, and for you to listen to it. And I know just 1%, about you, but I already know how strong you are. So I'm really happy to be here and grateful. And I hope that we can see each other growing. And well,
I would love that.
Thank you so much for
I
this.
would love that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Shift Happens. You are the reason I started this podcast. I hope it finds the ears and hearts of those who need it so that you know your voice matters and you are reminded that someone needs to hear your story. As always, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss an episode. And I'll see you next week.